Call Stephen P.NEW.
It's the A and C podcast, hosted by AC Divine and ECW original Chili Willy.
Right.
Stephen, I want to ask you, since we're speaking about, wrestling cases and stuff, two of the most recent ones, I want to hear your opinion on Hannibal recently attacking one of the referees at one of the indie shows he was running with a spike to the top of his head, and MLW having a lawsuit against WWE. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with both of those. With the first situation, and I've been pretty outspoken about it. Even if the referee was brought in to bleed, and my understanding is Hannibal pays to be on shows, and then he's gonna book it himself, and he paid for this referee to come in to quote unquote be a bleeder. Dude, if the angle is that the ref's going to blade one time and there is insufficient blood for what you want in the angle or what have you, then you don't jab the guy in the head 17 times with a spike to try to get the amount of blood that you want. It goes from that point, it goes from being a wrestling angle to being assault with a deadly weapon under the Texas criminal code. All right.
Yeah.
And so I've made my position known. I think the guy is a bad apple. The situation he had with Selena De La Renta was a bad situation as well. And I'm hoping that his work visa gets revoked. And my advice on my own podcast, YouTube, was I hope nobody books Hannibal in the United States or in Mexico, that his work visa gets canceled. And I don't take cancel culture lightly. I really don't. But I think if that guy, and Chili Willy knows this because Chili Willy was a professional wrestler.
Right.
When you're a wrestler, my understanding is you put your life literally in the other guy's hand. You've got to have trust with the other wrestler. And if that trust is broken to the point where, okay, this is how this moveset's going to go, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to do this. If you can't trust that other guy isn't going to take liberties with you, then the whole thing breaks down.
Right.
Right. And that's where Hannibal was so wrong, is because that ref trusted that Hannibal was going to do the right thing, and he didn't. He did the wrong thing. He took liberties with another man's body, and so that's not right. Now, the good thing about it is in the state of Texas, the statute of limitations, criminal and civil, won't run for a long period of time. So it will be interesting to see with whether that referee brings any action against world-class pro wrestling or Hannibal. So only time is going to tell to see what happens there. So
That's right.
Hey, see, you or Chili Willy got any questions about the Hannibal incident?
Now,
before we move on to MLW.
Wasn't he?
Go ahead.
My fault, Chili. Wasn't he traveling from Canada in like an RV?
Yeah. He traveled down to Texas from Canada in an RV.
Wow.
Stayed in an RV, and so he travels across the border into the United States to wrestle.
Okay. So Hannibal's from Canada. That's what that's what you guys say. He's from. Okay. Yeah. So my thing is with this, he worked me working in ECW, and knowing New Jack, personally. I didn't know New Jack when I knew New Jack, but I didn't know the incident when I wasn't working with ECW when he did the mass transit situation.
Right.
So it's similar to that. I think in both situations, even though New Jack got rest his soul, he was a friend of mine. I think that's wrong. Both situations was
Yeah.
wrong because, like you said, in wrestling, you put your trust in the other person. Whether the mass transit guy allowed, wanted that or whatever, you still don't do it. I think, I was taught you blade yourself, you juice yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can show the fork, you can show the stake going into the forehead, and we can give away secrets here on ANC podcast. But you blade yourself. You know what I mean? Ric Flair would blade himself. You put the tape around his fingers and you blade yourself. So that means that way exactly the amount of blood or scratch or whatever cut how deep you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Hannibal guy, he went way too far with that. I don't know if he was trying to replicate the ECW, New Jack style or whatever, trying to get a rep. You know what I mean? But I think that's wrong. And in this time of day, you don't do that. If someone wants to juice, let them juice their own selves. Let them blade their own selves. You can make the action to make it look like you're gonna cut someone, but even with the staple gun, it should be no staples in it. You should just blade yourself. And I think that he should definitely be dealt with that situation. That's kind of harsh. He could have killed the guy. He could have really hurt him.
Yeah. Didn't the guy almost die?
Why? I mean, he was hospitalized.
Oh my God,
crazy.
Man,
that's crazy.
17 gashes in his head.
Woo!
So, are you representing the guy, the referee?
No.
Okay. You have nothing to do with that. Okay.
Steven just did his research. That's all.
That's right. I unfortunately sat through a few too many interviews with Hannibal.
Oh,
he interviewed you?
No. I'm just listening to.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I used to see some of his stuff online also.
Mm.
Wow, that's crazy. that's insane.
Man.
Would you represent the referee if he asked you?
Yeah.
I think he's already, but yes, if he weren't already otherwise represented. But in my interview, which people can find at houseofkayfabe.com, by the way, and on YouTube at House of Kayfabe, promote us just a little cross promotion with the AC.
That's right.
There you go.